Police call it a house of horrors. Now live at 5, two Georgia men will spend the rest of their lives in prison after being convicted of adopting two young boys, then sexually abusing them. The two men from Walton County were just sentenced to 100 years without parole. The district attorney's office spoke on the horrific nature of the crimes, writing, quote, "Those involved with the investigation and prosecution of this case will never forget what they had to see and hear in the case."
Well, good damn afternoon, Americans. Jericho Green here with you once again. Give me a follow on X at Green_Jericho. Also, give me a follow on Instagram at JG Talk 2. That's the number 2, because I checked it out today and I'm only 3 subscribers away or followers away from hitting 1,000. So yeah, like 3 people follow me on Instagram at JG Talk 2. Again, I had another page at JG Talk where I had over 65,000 followers, but you know, Instagram doesn't like hate speech, which is weird because there's no such thing as hate speech. But anyway, give me a follow there. Follow me on Instagram. Again, I need 3 more to hit 1,000, and like and subscribe to this channel and to my other channel, Green's House. So you saw that quick clip. You may have heard the story, but these 2 gay dudes in Georgia adopted these 2 boys. And in the article that I'm going to read, you'll see where it says it was like a special needs agency. So were these kids special needs children? I'm not sure. Or maybe it just means they had special needs, you know, in their life in general. But these 2 dudes adopted these kids and then engaged in some of the most disgusting behavior humanly possible with these children. And they each received 100 years. And I was thinking, Georgia, that's in the South. Don't you guys have the death penalty down there? Shouldn't they get? Don't they still have a gas chamber and a storage unit somewhere down there? We can revamp. We can get one of those TV shows on Bravo, and they can revamp. You know, send it to one of those garages, and they can bring it back to life, and we can fire it up maybe, and throw these 2 pieces of shit inside of it. Maybe drop a cyanide capsule in there and see what happens. Now, I know what you're thinking. Once you heard this story, this is what you want to do. But again, here at Jericho Green Enterprises, we don't, condone violence. I'm just saying, you probably wanted them to suffer something like this.
After a while, all I'm doing is pounding wet chunks of bone into the floorboards, so I stop.
Right? Because if you do something like that, that's what you deserve. Anyway, here's an article I'm going to read, and it's very disgusting. So if you have children in the room, or maybe you just don't like to hear really horrible things. I mean, it's not like gruesome detail, but yeah, it's pretty bad. Gay couple who showed off picture perfect family gets 100 years in prison for horrific rape of adopted sons. Now, before I get into this article, I don't want this to cast a bad light on the adoption system. You are going to have some monsters who are going to hang around the prey that's easy. I mean, you see that in the animal kingdom all the time. You'll see animals who are predatory hanging around an easy food source because it's hard out there. So if there's an easy food source, you ever been camping? That's why they have the bear boxes. A bear could go catch a salmon. It could go eat some berries. It could go track down a moose or something like that. But it's much easier to rummage through your campsite or rip the door off of your SUV to get that Snickers wrapper that you left inside the center console that you thought nothing of when you got there. They won't smell this. So, of course, they're going to hang around places like this where you have children who come from broken homes, who have problems, to a system, to an agency that is looking for people to take these children. Is this indicative of the system? No. But you're going to have monsters like this hanging around an easy food source, easy prey. A gay Georgia couple convicted of sickening sexual abuse. Shouldn't that be sexual abuse? of their two adopted sons will spend the rest of their lives behind bars. William and Zachary Zulak. Number one, stop with the marriage. These guys weren't married. This was a civil union. Marriage is between a man and a woman, not two dudes, not two sword fighters. 34 and 36 were each sentenced last week to 100 years in prison without the possibility of parole, the Walton County District Attorney's Office announced. These two defendants truly created a house of horrors and put their extremely dark desires above everything and everyone else, said District Attorney Randy McKinley. However, the depth of the defendant's depravity, which is as deep as it gets, is not greater than the resolve of those that fought for justice and the strength of the victims in this case. The resolve I have seen from these two young victims over the last 2 years is truly inspiring. This is so disgusting. The couple raised them under the guise of a happy home in an affluent Atlanta suburb because kids, they just need to be with somebody who's going to give them stuff. All kids need is stuff. You hear people say this shit all the time. Well, they're going to have stuff. I have money. They're not going to be hungry. They're going to have clothes. They're going to have toys because all kids need is stuff. But their supposedly picture-perfect life, Zachary worked in banking and William was a government employee, held a dark secret. The couple were regularly forcing the boys to have sex with them and would film the abuse to make pedophilic pornography. And these boys look to be 8, 9. Evidence showed they even bragged about the abuse to twisted friends, with one telling police Zachary once sent a Snapchat message reading, "I'm going to F my son tonight. Stand by," along with the images of the boy being abused. Now, I hope that so-called twisted friend went immediately to the authorities and showed them this. Screenshot it and show it to them. That Snapchat shit is weird. Isn't that the one where it disappears after like 10 seconds? But I hope that person Snapchatted that and went to the authorities, because if not, you need to be in prison right next to them for 100 years. And they allegedly used social media to pimp the boys out to at least 2 men in a depraved local pedophile sex ring. The couple was arrested in 2022 after an alleged member of the ring was caught downloading child porn. And he told the investigators how the Zulaks were making porn with young boys living in their house. Both Zulaks pled guilty to the charges of aggravated child molestation, aggravated sodomy, and sexual exploitation of children. Ew. I need to go wash my mouth out with battery acid after reading that story. That is utterly filthy, depraved, disgusting, demonic, satanic, evil, mean. It's so many things. And as you see that going, what do they call it, scrolling across the bottom of the screen, what the fuck did you think was going to happen? You allow these two. That's why I don't think gay couples should be allowed to adopt kids. But Jericho, straight couples do it too. Yeah, but it's a higher probability that it'll be done by a gay couple. Why? Because it was probably done to them. That's how they turned out that way. They came from a broken home, probably raised by a single mom, and they were left in situations where they were molested. But Jericho, kids that come from a mother and a father, a nuclear family, they get molested too. I know that, you jackass. But it's a higher probability when you throw them in a home with 2 people who are molested. They probably looked at their financial records. Oh, they have money. They can give them stuff. They say that they're going to love them because all kids need is love and stuff. They don't need protection. They don't need direction. They don't need structure. They don't need discipline. They don't need any of those other things. They just need stuff and love. Sorry. Those are 2 ingredients. I'd say love is one of the main ingredients. Stuff, man, it's on there. But it's like down at the end of the recipe, like, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. You don't really got to put that shit in there. But stuff, yeah, that's cool. Kids like stuff. They're materialistic. They're young, short-sighted. It's not their fault. They haven't been here that long. But as they get older, actually, not even when they get older. They need those things from the structure, the discipline, and all that stuff, the consistency, blah, 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 the commitment, all those things. They need that right from the jump. Love, yes, they need that too. Stuff, I don't know. But they probably looked at their records and said they make plenty of money. They can give this kid plenty of stuff. In the interviews, they sound good. Maybe I'm sure if they wrote a letter or something like that, it all sounded good. But they're two gay dudes. Ladies, you know how dirt ballish your man can be. You know how much of a pervert he can be in a good way. You know, you can't walk past him, don't bend over in front of him, all that kind of stuff. So imagine two dudes. Imagine a relationship with two guys, and there's no woman there to say, hey, chill out, wait a minute, the kids are still awake. That shit's going to be crazy. And chances are they were both molested. So that's a pretty high probability if you have two molested people in the house that their kids are probably going to end up being molested too, especially if they're not their real kids. They're not the kids that they created. There's that buffer. There's that turn. That's dehumanizing them. They're not mine. I didn't make them. This is somebody else's kid. This is discarded. This is garbage. It's not a person. This is garbage. Somebody threw this thing away. So it doesn't matter what I do to it because it's not human. It's just some discarded garbage. So what I do to it, so what? That's how they saw these two little boys. That's why I say I can understand if you wanted this to happen to them.
After a while, all I'm doing is pounding wet chunks of bone into the floorboards, so I stop.
Huh? I would understand if you thought that that's exactly what they deserve because you took advantage of one of the weakest in our society, children. You took advantage of them. You destroyed their body and you destroyed their mind when the world had already probably done some of that to them and they were coming to you as a refuge. They're floating out in an ocean of despair and abuse. And here you are, this respite, this raft that they can cling to and finally relax and be loved and supported and given a home and structure and discipline and all the things that a child needs. Not it'd be cool if you gave them this. That's what they need. Oxygen, water, structure, discipline. It's up there. It's in the top 5. So that adds another layer of fucked upness to it. The fact that they had already been through the ringer and they were coming to you for help. And you probably turned out to be worse than what they came from worse than what set them adrift in the first place. So I hope what they need to do is send them to a women's prison. Don't send a couple alphabet soup group members to a men's prison. That sounds like a vacation to me. Fellas, if you got in trouble and they say you're going to spend the next 100 years on Titty and Vagina Island, how worried are you going to be? How fearful are you going to be? How much are you going to dread the next 100 years? Probably not at all. So send them to a women's prison where they have titties and vagina, which they find revolting. But of course, they deserve much, 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 much worse than that. Something that our American justice system cannot provide. But maybe the prisoners inside of the Georgia prison where they're going to find themselves for the next 100 years, they can give to them the customer service that they deserve, that they've earned. But to the state adoption agency of Georgia, what are you thinking? Any state that allows this to happen, what are you thinking? What did you think was going to happen? These poor kids. And they look like, I think I read somewhere where they were 8. They look like they're of age where they're going to remember this. That is sick and disgusting. And all they get is 100 years? That's it? Georgia, you got to do better than that. You got to retroactively punish these fools and give them the death penalty and give them the fast track. You know, like when you go to the airport and then they got that pass, that fast pass, where you walk past all the people taking their shoes and their belts off. That's what they need to be on. They need to be on the fast track to the electric chair. Don't give them no lethal injection where they stick you in the arm and you get tired. Oh, count backwards from 100, 99, 98, 97, and you go 99. And then they give you the bad stuff. No. You need to be awake. You need to be alert. You need to have a wet sponge on your head or something like that. We need to put some electrodes through you. It needs to be bad because this is one of the most horrible and disgusting things a human being can perpetrate on another human being, period. Meet me in the comments, people. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you think of their punishment. Am I wrong in thinking that chances are they were molested too? That's how they got that way. That's how they got into the alphabet soup group. So yeah, there's going to be a pretty good chance that it happens to their kids when you got two of them in the house. Talk to me, Goose. But you know, such a sad, disgusting story. Terrible story. Let's end on a good note. Let's watch this lady fall and knock the wind out of herself, and we'll all laugh at her. But you know how it goes. I try to be done with the left, but they just won't let me. I'm out.
They're filled with Chamberson grapes, and the winner this Saturday, who's still music, eating international foods, having wine tours and tastings, vineyard tours, seminars, arts and crafts. It's a lot of fun, a whole day. Stop. Oh, stop. I can't. Stop. I can't breathe. Stop.
No. Oh,
Boy,
dear.
I think she's actually hurt.
No, I
there.
think she is.
Yeah.